One world, your station.
Former India player and now coach and commentator broadcaster W.V. Raman joins me. Hi, how are you? I hope the family and you are safe and healthy and both vaccines have happened.
Yeah, everything is okay. As far as things are concerned now, the only thing is that things are always challenging. But anyway, that's the way it is. You got to try and see what best you can do to be of use to the society, not only by you being safe and also trying to step out and be safe when you're out in the public.
That's very well said, sir. The calls of bring back Ashwin are getting stronger and louder. Do you think he should play at the Oval as well as Old Trafford, and why?
The first thing that people need to realize is that are we going to look at an individual and then tweak everything around that individual to accommodate the individual to bring that guy into the 11? It's not about, as far as I'm concerned, it's not about me, Ashwin, having to play or not having to play. The point is that why have we lost it is what is important. We've lost the game at Headingley because of collapses in both the innings. So bringing in Ashwin is, yes, one half of the equation. We got to look at the other half of the equation, which needs to be really sort of thought about.
Now, in retrospect, was it a mistake not to play him at Headingley? What are your thoughts on that?
If we start looking at anything and everything with the view that Ashwin should have been a part of the side, we are going to look at it this way. Now, let me be very, very clear on one thing. It's not that I'm not for Ashwin playing. I am only sort of trying to point out the propensity for us to get distracted so easily from the core issue.
True.
That is what I am trying to point out.
Now, let's look at the batting. Now, is Ajinkya in the team for other reasons? He's a great vice captain. He's a calm head. He's a nice guy. He has a great past record, Mr. Raman. Do you think we should replace him with either Hanuma Vihari or Suryakumar Yadav? Which player would you pick?
Why you want to look at either Suryakumar Yadav or Vihari in place of Rahane? If you also have the confidence that he is capable of delivering, he's a quality player, he's played well in the past. Okay, you say that you are happy with playing 4 fast bowlers. If you are not going to use the spinner, don't play him in the 11. If Vihari plays as an additional batsman, he can bowl a few overs of spin. So that way you will bolster your batting as well. And if fast bowlers are the ones who are going to pick the 20 wickets that the captain is looking for, then dispense away with the spinner and bring in an extra batsman who can bowl a few overs as well. Why look at it from a viewpoint that you bought a pair of shoes and try and, you trying to fit your foot into that shoe? See what size shoe you require and then buy that shoe.
Nicely put. Riddhiman Saha versus Rishabh Pant, the argument. I mean, Rishabh is averaging 18 thus far in this series. Lots of people say Saha is a more mature approach to his batting, sir.
If you're bolstering your batting by bringing in the 6th batsman into the side, I think you can take a punt with Rishabh Pant. Now, let's be very clear on that. It's rather unfortunate that Saha didn't get the chances that he deserved at the time he deserved to play. But what has happened in the recent past is that after Rishabh Pant has been conveyed the message that he needs to pull up his socks in terms of his fitness and his keeping skills, he's done a very good job of it. And he's also shown a lot of improvement as a keeper. He has become fitter. And he's also picking up the ropes very quickly. And there's also some talk or there's some hope that he'll go on to become the captain in the future. And his batting is something that can change the game on its head. So if you're going to play 6 batters, you might as well have him at 7. That is the way it is, because he has not dropped any. People are, sort of a little bit disappointed with him because he's not really fired. And, when he fires as a batsman, he's going to really entertain everybody. So that lack of entertainment perhaps is disappointed a lot of people. And that disappointment is perhaps triggering people to, look at other options than Rishabh Pant. We can't be so whimsical.
Fair enough. Now, I need you to put your batting coach hat on. I need your opinion. Why are they all getting out in the same manner, in that same corridor, sir, edging around the fourth or fifth stump area? What can they do in the nets and in the heat of the moment when they're at the wicket?
See, KL Rahul, I think we also had a segment of it, prior to the last game at Headingley. I was making a point that he's gone back to his old technique, which is about going right across instead of coming down the track as he did at Nottingham and Lords. Now, that perhaps is due to the fact that either he is keen to also ensure he doesn't have any gap or any weakness when bowlers bowl slightly outside the stump to him and take the ball away from him. So he either keen to cover that, or perhaps confidence can also be counterproductive at times, because he's got runs in Nottingham and in Lords. He is looking to perhaps play the expansive drives that he likes to play. He is that kind of player. The first two test matches, he did extraordinarily well to play very much against his natural game. He was doing a role that was required of him to try and ensure that he gives a good start, which he did fabulously well. But he must understand that England is a country where even if you're batting at 70, you cannot take it for granted. You can't think you're well set. So that being the case, I think you can carry the confidence. Yes, this game is all about confidence, but it also can let you down at times if you sort of get a little bit carried away with your confidence. And the others, I think that's what it is all about, because I think they're keen to play at deliveries. Like Virat Kohli played a very good innings. There were expectations that he was going to get a big score at Headingley, but unfortunately he got out. But in the time that he played, he was really playing well. He was judging the deliveries well. He was leaving them when he had to, and then he played some lovely shots as well. So it's just that thing has to be, the face of what they do well has to be extended. It's not that they don't know to do it, they know to do it, but somehow there's, let's say, a little bit of lapse of concentration, or perhaps the England fast bowlers are far too relentless. Let's give them also credit.
Ishant Sharma looks exhausted, sir. No rhythm at Headingley. In fact, those 3-3 over spells Kohli gave him did nothing for Team India. So my big question to you is, if they're going to play three pacers and one spinner, would you go with Bumrah, Shami, Siraj? Or would you play Shardul Thakur, along with the spinner or the extra batsman? So what would be your bowling lineup? So let's start with Ishant and then go to the combination of pacers.
Yes, obviously that's the only link that you can talk about when it comes to the pace attack. I'll probably wind it up by saying Shardul did nothing wrong in the test match that he played at Nottingham. So I think we need to bring him back.
And as far as Ishant is concerned, you think the rotation policy should come into play now, right?
It's not a question of rotation. It's a question of picking who you think are the four best momentarily, or who would, help you out to deliver the goods in the over a period of next 5 days. And that's how obviously the team managements think. I'm sure this team management is no different when it comes to strategizing, because you've got a captain and coach who are highly experienced in taking decisions, and let's not even doubt their ability to strategize.
Okay. How does one get Joe Root out, Mr. Raman? He's in such an ominous form. What's your advice to the India bowlers?
We all rejoiced when one of us, like a Kohli or a Rahane, was in that kind of form. So we need to enjoy watching him bat as well and try and get rid of the others as quickly as possible. What is probably something that I would look at with great encouragement is that the England middle order, the other middle order batsmen, had a great chance in the last test match to run into some form, because they came out to bat when the situation was tailor-made for them and there was no pressure at all. But they didn't get runs as much as they would like, at least in terms of numbers. They might feel confident mentally. Yes, that's a different issue. But batsmen enhance their confidence by way of putting runs on the board, which didn't happen for them. So I think that is something very encouraging, because apart from Root, and we saw what can happen if you get Root early at Lords in the second innings. If you get him early, the others are not in the best of form, so we stand a very good chance.
Their bowlers are swinging the ball in the air, sir. Our boys seem to be dependent on getting movement from the pitch, which was obviously non-existent in Headingley. Does that mean our pacers can't swing the ball in the air? Are we weak in that department? You see the English fast bowlers, then that has been their biggest strength, the movement in the air. I'd like a comment from you on that.
See, they're used to bowling those conditions, and they also know the precise length that they need to bowl in each and every center. I'm sure during the broadcast of the last test match, you would have seen that bowlers needed to bowl a slightly fuller length at Headingley, which is something those bowlers know very well. See, let's face it, Overton and Robinson, being the tall guys that they are, they tend to bowl back of the length generally, but they adjusted their length extraordinarily well. So that is something of an home advantage, which the English bowlers are using to the best of their ability.
You're such an accomplished coach. You've also played alongside Ravi Shastri. What do you think he'll be doing right now with the boys?
He would also be thinking as to what would be the best combination to start off with. And he would also try and motivate them by asking them to look ahead rather than look behind. Because let's not forget the fact that he was handling the team when they were shot out in Australia as well. And from there, you see how he kept the boys interested, how they came back. So all is not lost. I'm sure Ravi would do the right things, and in terms of communicating and communication, and in terms of spreading positivity, I think he is extraordinarily good.
As a fan of yours, allow me to spend some time on your playing career now. I want to start with domestic cricket. You hit a purple patch in 88-89, 313 for Tamil Nadu against Goa, and notched up 2 more double centuries. You ended the season with 1,018 runs. You surpassed Rusi Modi's 44-year-old record for most runs in a season. I'd like you to give us your memories of that wonderful season.
Oh, that season started off on a very, irritating note, if I can describe it that way. Because what used to happen was that I used to get out in the 30s and 40s. If you look at the earlier games, I think I would have probably played about 5 games. I was getting out for 30s and 40s, and there was probably one score of 90. So it was rather, initially it was irritating, then it was annoying. And then one classic question came from a guy who doesn't know this game at all, which dispelled whatever clouds were forming inside my head. And there was also one kind of provocation from one of the selectors, which also helped me to sort of get my mojo back, trigger my mojo back. So that knock is perhaps the highest score against Goa, something that I won't put at the top of the list when you ask me about the best innings that I played. But the one after that, in fact, a couple of double hundreds after that against Maharashtra and Bengal, I would rate them very high, because one came on a ranked turner, the other one we were chasing some 590 or something like that. And it needed the top order batsman of Tamil Nadu to fire on a winter morning in Calcutta, where the ball can swing quite a bit, and especially the lacquered Sonex ball that we used those days. It would, swing like bananas, as people tend to say. So that was something that was a dream day, in the sense that, imagine, you don't get a double hundred of 200 balls every day in your life, regardless of how good you are and regardless of how well you're batting. So that is something that happened, and it was unfortunate in the end. Even though I personally broke that 45-year-old record, we lost the game by about 70 runs in the semi-finals. So things balance out in life.
Do that. Well said. Your Test debut would be spoken about more if it were not for Narendra Hirwani's 16 for 136. I mean, here are you at Chepauk, your home ground against the West Indies. Your second innings, 83 on Test debut, batting at number 3. Also a wicket in your first over in Test cricket. So must have been a fabulous way for a youngster to debut at that time.
Yeah, it was, and the fact also remains that, for me, everything happened in a blur, because I was inducted perhaps about 12-14 hours before the start of the Test match. I had to wait for Maninder Singh to be assessed in terms of fitness, and his exclusion happened finally. When I say finally, because the physio of the team had to certify him unfit, so that procedure had to be followed of the report being sent across to the board officials, and according to the constitution of the BCCI, you had to do a few things and then announce the team. Various sort of things had to be done behind the scenes. You're talking about my contribution might have been spoken about more, but for Irvani, but people have also, sort of overlooked the brilliant 100 couple they got in that test match. It didn't look like he was really getting runs, but such is his greatness. He got 100 without, letting anybody know what exactly he was doing. It was, in a way, a kind of a stealthy 100, but that spoke of his class, because it was a difficult track to bat. And here he was making it look easy. And suddenly, by the time you said, "Oh, Kapil has been around for a while now," that the crease, what's he done? Or he says, "Sorry, chaps, I got 100 already." So that's the kind of innings it was.
I'm going to fast forward to a couple of years later, the tour of New Zealand in 1990. Now, it's quite admirable that you put up your hand, and when the team asked you to open, you opened. Of course, you opened with Sidhu, Prabhakar, and 96 is your highest test score. That happened against New Zealand. You batted for 5.5 hours against Richard Hadley, Danny Morrison, Snedden at Christchurch. And obviously, it's what we call a battle of attrition, 5.5 hours for that 96. Your memories of that innings, please.
We were trying to save the test match. It was an uphill task. In as much as we tried, we couldn't. And the sad part of it was that, the mission was not accomplished, that of saving the test match. And on a personal level, it would have been nice to complete 100. But the fact that I could bat around 5 hours, now that you told me, it's been sort of established. In fact, I've forgotten almost my entire cricketing life. It did give me the confidence that, yes, it is a possibility that I can bat in international cricket also. So that was something that came out of that innings. But after that, it was unfortunate that I didn't get to play any test series in totality, in the sense that I didn't play any test series or a string of matches. So that's how it went. And these things happen. You can't blame anybody. It happens due to various reasons and the circumstances. Now, you look at, for example, we spoke about Saha some time ago. The first half of his career, poor chap, he had to really sit out because there was somebody called MS Dhoni there. And then when he thinks he's got, the deck cleared, he suddenly sees somebody, youngster, just coming in, wafting around, throwing his bat around, being very effective, gets some runs in test cricket. Then they say, "Sorry, Rudy, you'll have to stay back because we don't mind taking a punt with him." So that's the way it is. And the sad part is that everybody acknowledges that he's the best in terms of, work behind the stumps with the gloves on. Now, see how frustrating or, how disappointing it could have been for Wriddhiman sir, not once, twice, thrice, 4 times. It's happened right through his career over a period of long time. What I'm trying to get at is, I'm not trying to sort of wind up Riddhi, or I'm not trying to criticize others who perhaps felt he was good enough to play, but yet they needed somebody else. What I'm trying to get at is the fact that, circumstances sometimes, don't allow you to perhaps realize all that you can realize or achieve or partake in all the situations that you wanted to. So that's how life is. That's why, life is also interesting. Otherwise, everything went according to how you saw it, how you wanted it. You wouldn't respect life, would you?
That's an unscripted life is always more exciting. You talked about a 96 in a losing cause, but there was a winning cause. The first Indian to score 100 against the South Africans in an ODI. This happened at the Centurion in 92-93, 114. You were man of the match. India won by 4 wickets. Couldn't have gotten better than that. And of course, another fabulous bowling lineup. And we're talking Alan Donald, Hansi Cronje, Fanny de Villiers, Craig Matthews. I'd like you to talk about that win and that 114 at Centurion.
It was in the middle of the series. We needed to win to stay in that series. So the thing was that leading up to the game, I was getting good starts, but I was not converting. Yes, when we walked out to chase, I personally felt yes, if you get a start, this is the best time for you to hang in there and make something substantial out of it, because the target was seemingly not much, 214 or 15, but it was a hard fought series, and the scores were by and large around the 330. 340, 230, 240 mark. It is not like anywhere close to what it is these days, close to 300 or in excess of 300. So I felt that was the best chance for me to try and make something substantial out of it if I got a start. And I did get a start, and the wickets were being lost at the other end, which meant that there was even more reason for me to hang in there and try and play till the end if possible. And that's exactly what I did. So it was rather a satisfying thing on both counts in terms of reaching that landmark personally, of getting 100 there, and that 100 also enabling to a certain extent the mission of winning the game and staying in the series. So on all fronts it was a win-win. So that is perhaps the kind of thing that every cricketer would want to, his contribution to be enabling these chances of his team's success, and also glory for himself or herself. So that's how it is.
I'm going to sign off now with just your coaching career. Now, if I look back at it, it's just been fabulous. You ensured that you coached the ladies team to the final of the T20 World Cup. There's also been a highlight where your boys won the Ranji Trophy one day when you were coach of Tamil Nadu, and Dinesh Karthik, Balaji, M. Vijay were not there. Ashwin took 3 wickets, Abhinav Mukund, the 100. So what to you would be the highlight of your extensive coaching career? You were batting coach of KKR when they won their IPL title in 2014. So I think that'll be a nice way to wrap up and your highlights of your coaching career.
Yeah, you need to be a part of a team and work in conjunction with them. It's not that just, what you do is the be all end all of it all. If you ask me what I would consider as a highlight of my coaching career, it is helping L. Balaji come out of his back injury and play cricket for about 7 or 8 years, which he genuinely felt was not possible around 2006 when I came back to coaching full time. So that is something I would really sort of consider an achievement, not personally, because the entire credit, of course, goes to Lakshmipathy Balaji, because he was going through a lot emotionally, physically, and the insecurities that come when you're just about on the verge of launching yourself into orbit in international cricket. Now you're bogged down, and the brakes are put by way of an injury, and you suddenly, you're wondering as to what life is going to hand out next. Because at that point in time, Balaji was focusing only on playing cricket, so he did not develop other skills. So if he were to not play cricket, I don't know, how life would have gone for him after that as a non-cricketer. But it was a 2-year project, and in the end, as they say, all is well that ends well. In the end, the most satisfying thing was that he not only came back to playing cricket, which has not been done by anybody in India before. Not only did he come back and play cricket, and he went on to make a comeback for the Indian team as well. I'm sure, I remember he made a comeback into one of the full major tours of New Zealand, and then he also was picked for a T20 World Cup, I think, a World Cup or series or something like that, and he played a lot of years of IPL. So at least he will be satisfied with the fact that, he's played quite a lot of cricket, which he probably was not very sure of when he first had that back injury. And then obviously, he's reasonably secure as a result of playing cricket financially as well.
Watch W.V. Raman in Tamil commentary for the India Tour of England on Sony 10-4. Watch the 4th test of India Tour of England live, 3:30 in the afternoon, Indian Standard Time, on Sony 6, Sony 10-3 in Hindi, Sony 10-4 in Tamil, from the 2nd to the 6th of September 2021. Thank you for your time and your patience, sir, and have a good day. Cheers.
Thank you, Mr. Guys. It was nice being here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
94.3 Radio 1. One world, your station.